Sanctus Audio is bringing their experience in the industry to lead a hands-on, interactive workshop exploring ways that sound can support motion graphics. From spotting the strategic planning of a soundtrack to hunting down and capturing sounds, and boy, have we all looked for audio at some point in our life. To putting the pieces together in software, we'll cover several big picture ideas and have some fun in the process. Please welcome Sanctus! Boom, 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 boom.
So thanks everybody for coming. So I guess Mac already introduced us, so I think we can just jump right into it here. What we're going to do is we're going to do a whirlwind tour of sound and music for motion. And we only have 90 minutes, so I don't think we're going to be able to train all of you to be expert sound designers by the end of this. But my hope is that either, this could be something that encourages you to do more sound on your own, to kind of have an understanding of, oh, this is something I could do, this is something I could learn more about, or just a way to communicate with people like us. Like if you're working with sound designers and composers on your projects, you might have a better understanding of how a project looks, from their side of things. So for today, what we're going to do is we are going to make some sounds for an animated short called Creatures of Chaos. This was a project created by Supernova. They're an animation studio in LA. They made this film as a passion project. They brought us on to do their sound design and their music. We thought this would be a great opportunity to kind of play around with some of that animation. And so we brought a kind of a cut down version of that trailer. All right, so plan from here. We will watch the trailer, a very quiet trailer, and we're going to plan out some creative. And then we're going to break out into 3 groups. We'll figure out how to split this up, but these groups are going to rotate, so everyone's going to get to do everything, so don't worry about that. And then we're going to come back together and we're going to learn how to put the pieces together in the mix and learn about the mixing process. So first thing, let's check out the trailer. And then I'm going to brief us on it as we watch it. Hope you can all see it okay. Okay, so at its core, the film is about mental health. We have these characters, and each of them has a creature of chaos, which is a manifestation of their struggle, whether it's loneliness, anxiety, depression. The film is really sincere and heartfelt in tone. It presents some of these serious themes, but it kind of abstracts them and presents them in this more playful way to make it a little bit easier to reckon with these things. You can see this playful quality to the monsters, and the moral of the film is really to learn to confront them rather than stuff them away and kind of ignore them. So overall, it gives this bittersweet quality of the film. I say that it's not for kids, but it's not for kids. Childlike, but not childish. So sum it up, we're basically looking for sincere, bittersweet, and childlike. And we brought handouts here, and I think that we've written somewhere on there these. So we're going to have you do a little bit of work as we're kind of planning out the music and figuring that out. It's kind of what we're going for. We know kind of the overall vibe. So now we want to look at the story arc so that we can kind of plan out from moment to moment what the music should be doing or could be doing for the film. Okay, so at the beginning, I went ahead and I just spotted out some of the moments that I think the music could change. So at the very beginning, we have this establishing shot. We could have the music come in right at the beginning. We could have only sound design and have the music come in later. We could maybe have a soft intro of the music and then after the establishing shot kind of pick it up. There's some options there, but it's kind of a nice thing to think about ahead of time. About 8 seconds in, this is where things start picking up a little bit more. It's where we've introduced the characters, their creatures, and we kind of have a problem, and there's some energy happening. And then about halfway through, it's a similar thing, but the energy keeps building up. So that could be nice if we're able to find music that continues to build up. We could incorporate that there. And then the big one is here. So this scene, we have each of the creatures is morphing out of control, and it's really wacky and wild. And I point this out because I think this is really important in finding a piece of library music that's going to work, because I think we're going to have a very hard time finding something that both works for this like bittersweet, sincere quality of everything that comes before it, and these like blah, monsters kind of morphing out and freaking out. And so I think the best solution for this is going to actually be to use sound design for this, because sound design is going to be great to give us that like kind of chaotic feeling. So as we're looking for music, let's not worry about finding music that is going to work for this scene. We can have no music, we could have music quietly under it, knowing that sound design, and we're actually going to work on this in my workshop, is what's going to like carry the soundtrack for that. Then at the end we have the title, so maybe a nice like ending of the music would be good. So at this point, we got overall vibe, kind of know what we're looking for. We know kind of story beats that we're looking to hit. And so rather than spend the rest of this workshop digging through premiumbeat.com, I'm sure y'all do that enough on your own. I went ahead and I pulled 3 tracks from our library and I edited those to picture. And so we're going to listen to each a couple times. We're going to listen to each, and then we're going to go back and listen to each again. And on your worksheets, we have a kind of place you can make notes on that. And I would love for everybody to, as you're watching it, kind of thinking about it, just write down some thoughts on each one. And there's no right answer to any of these. I think any of these could work. But what we're doing is we're kind of figuring out, okay, what does this music do for the picture? You know, what is this accomplishing? And then we can evaluate why we think a piece of music would be a better or a worse choice. Cool? All right, so here's our first one. When we were planning this, we're like, what if nobody has any opinions? It's like, this is like about, 80 designers. Like, all right, let's, again, as we all know, committee is the best way to make a creative decision. So we're going to take a vote by raise of hands. Inner system. All right, not a lot of love for inner system. Me and my robot. Whispering progress.
All right.
All right, we have come to consensus. Sweet. All right, oh, breakout time. Yes, all right, so now we have picked some music that we're going to build off of. So we're going to transition into talking about sound design. So we're going to break into 3 groups. And again, these are going to rotate, so don't worry, everyone's going to get to do everything.
Really, you kind of have to figure out what's important in your mix. In ours, we don't have dialogue or music. We just have, or we don't have dialogue. We just have music, sound design, and ambiences. And in us, the music's the most important, and the sound design kind of comes in and does the flavor and everything. And the reason we really can't just throw it all in there, and we have to spend the time mixing, and the reason why mixing is important, is the process of masking. So you'll see here, this is a frequency graph of low frequencies to high frequencies, music and sound design of this very spot. And they overlap almost the whole frequency range, which means that they're in front of each other. Audio's not really like visuals where you can easily just like move something and change, and you can see this and that. They're on top of each other all the time. And masking is the change of perception of a sound because another sound is nearby, which is what's happening all the time. And this, you'll see that this orange section, these are the places where the masking is the most prominent, where you're gonna have the craziest part of your mixes where you won't be able to hear anything. And so really, what we're doing in mixing is trying to use these different tools like EQ, like automation, like keyframes, really just for audio automation. Dynamics, compressors, those sorts of things. Panning, using the space of left and right in your mix, and different effects, is to really try to solve the problem of masking. If you just put everything together, you can't hear it all. And one really clear way you see this is in EQ. For example, a lot of times the voice, the most important part of a piece, especially like an explainer or something like that, is the mid-range, right? Where the voice is, where you can kind of hear the intelligibility of what's going on. And the music is sitting here on this whole thing. So a lot of times what you can do to help is take an EQ and take out a little bit of the mid-range of the music, and your voice will suddenly sit on top of it in a better way. A lot of times the music is just cluttering up that range where you hear voice. And simple changes like that, whether it's just on music, on sound effects, on individual tracks, on all different elements, can really help things blend and move together in order to create a full mix. Also, an important thing to know is final delivery. So how loud should the mix be? Like after you've done all these things, you've gotten all these layers sounding good, there's telling the story that you want to tell, how do you wrap it up? What do you end up doing? Loudness is a really important part of the process, because louder is not always better. Just because something's hitting a meter doesn't mean it's going to sound better or be perceived louder than something else. As well as things like YouTube will turn you down if you're too loud. Like they will change what yours is, or Instagram will turn you up and make you sound horrible, and often in mono, and it's horrible, it doesn't sound good at all. LUFS is a really important thing to know. It's a loudness meter. So this loudness meter here, LUFS is the rating of your loudness over the course of the whole film. And in the back of your worksheets, there's resources. There's a plugin you can download that's totally free that you can put in any sort of audio work space, and you put it on your master bus, it tells you what you're at. There's also a website called loudnesspenalty.com. It's also on there. And that one you can just upload your mix file, your final wave, and it will tell you exactly how loud it is in LUFS and how much YouTube is going to turn you down. How YouTube is going to change it when you upload to it, so that you have some verifiable information to know that, like, this is hitting the targets correctly because we're at -14 or -16. We like to aim for -16 for online media. Broadcast is a whole different thing that is way quieter, and you can't upload a broadcast mix to the internet. It will be way quieter than everything else that you hear on the internet. So this is a great thing to know, and there's those resources you can download. They're totally free. And then the last part is final delivery for audio is way easy. We pretty much just hand an editor a WAV file of the final mix, they lay it back into picture, and audio's done. We'll often print stems of voiceover, music, and effects, and that sort of thing so that we have it for posterity or cut downs, but really, the final deliverable in audio is one file, and it's very, very straightforward. So that's it. We've really taken you through the whole soundtrack from beginning, from spotting a totally silent piece to picking music, doing Foley, sound design, and crazy synths, and going outside and recording ambiences, mixing it all together, and that will get you from point A to all the way to the finish of your spot. Thank you all so much for being game to... Yeah, please.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks. What do you think? And so again, we know this was like super quick. We just did an hour and a half, took you through as much of the process. Our goal here is really to hopefully, this is like a starting point to make you feel curious about things. Our contact information is on your sheets. Reach out with any questions. We would absolutely love to help point you in the direction of what you want to learn about, because there's tons of great resources like online and in like the Adobe Suite and stuff. Like there will be like these tools that we talked about, like EQ and stuff. So if you learn about those things, you probably already actually have access to them. You're not going to have to like go out and buy a new software and all that kind of stuff. Sorry, just wanted to.
No, that's great. Thank you all so much.